Welcome back to another episode of My Shoes Let's Walk, hosted by Sandy and special guest Debbie. Today's episode is about overcoming difficult people. Ladies, let's start walking.
Oh, awesome. My shoes, let's walk doesn't mean just my shoes. It means all of our shoes.
Yes.
And let's not step on anybody's toes. This
No.
is our personal opinions,
Yes.
our personal stories, things
Yes.
that we've been through and where we've come from and how we deal with it. We're only doing this to try to help other people that are going through the same things. Maybe they can hear us and say, hey, I'm not alone. This is what I can do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so I know actually Debbie and I come from two different sides of these stories.
Yeah.
Debbie's a nurse
Mm-hmm.
in the hospital, and I was a year-long plus patient in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you had to deal with difficult people as well as I did, but tell us
Quite a
some
few.
of your- yeah.
Well, sometimes, when you have a difficult person, a lot of people don't want to take care of them. But I didn't ever like to do that. I wanted to take care of everybody. So usually when I went in with these people, the first thing I would do, because I'm a hugger, was just tell them, hi, I'm Debbie. I like to kind of start off because I know you're not having a great day with a hug. Is that okay? And most people were reciprocating towards that hug because they'd want to hug me back. That's usually all it took. And then they kind of start outpouring what's going on. For the most part, though, most people, there really wasn't anything really big deal. I think they just wanted to know that they were seen and that they were heard. Where other people don't deal well with a gruff personality, they would kind of treat them where they don't want to go into the room or they're short with them and basically kind of toss their stuff at them and leave.
Oh, yeah. So I being in the hospital, I have
Hmm.
seen where patients have thrown their bedpan out the door and yelled
Yeah.
at the nurses. And
Yep.
how do you overcome
Well, we have paralytics. No.
it?
Had to do that before.
Wow.
But no, for the most part, you know, it's not fun. Housekeeping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But no, go in and find out what's going on. What is happening? Why would somebody toss a bedpan? Most of the time, they hadn't been sitting on that bedpan very long, but should it been a little bit longer than they thought? Maybe it's really uncomfortable. They've got a back issue. They felt like nobody was answering their bell because some people believe that you have to be there the second you push the button.
Hmm.
But I also believe that communication goes a long way as well. And if we told them, I'm in the next room, but I'll be right there. It's just hang tight and I'll be right there with you. Yeah, I've had a couple of bedpans being tossed across the room. Some of those people, though, once I went in, apologized to them as if I had something to apologize for. But I take the rap. It didn't matter.
Right.
They were usually okay. Some not. You can't make everybody happy, but most of the people I found if I just treated them with kindness, showed them they mattered, regardless of what they did or the mess they made. Yeah. Usually it went well. I remember this sweet, sweet old Hungarian lady or Polish. I know she couldn't speak any English and she was massively bound up, massively. And her son was a very protective son. However, he didn't tell me that they had given her so many laxatives at the nursing home. They just sent her to us. They didn't give the laxatives a chance to work. Now here she is in my room. Sweet old lady. She was a doll.
Housekeeping.
Yup, son. And I had white shoes on, white pants, brand new white shoes. And I go
Aw.
into the room because the son all of a sudden's coming out hysterically. He doesn't come to tell me, hey, my mom needs a bedpan. It's like, oh my God, the river's running brown off the end of the bed. And I'm like, river? What river? No river in there. What? And I go in and literally, I've got this lady, Hungarian Polish. I don't remember what she was, but she could not speak any English. And she is just like, and she's smiling and she's rubbing her belly and she's all happy and her old poopy hands wanted to hug me. And it's, I'm like, uno momento, even though that's not Polish, because that's all I know.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness. And I washed her hands up. We had to clean her up. Housekeeping, they had to clean the floor. But when it was all done, she was hugging me. She thought I had just solved her problem. Well, I didn't. The nursing home did with all the laxatives. I never had to do anything. We got to send her right back. But the son was like really angry because she pooped the bed, but I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh
do
my God.
anything.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, dude, I'll clean her up, but hey, you could have called me for a bedpan.
Yeah. You
But he,
know, I honestly have to say the times. Okay, so the year I was in there, but I was in there a lot more than that because I was in and out for different surgeries at different times. So I guess if you added it all up, I probably spent 2.5 years in the
wow,
hospital
that's a long
overall
time.
and got to know nurses and got to know what you guys went through and what you go
Yes.
through.
Oh, yes.
And when I was in Milwaukee, and it was a teaching hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm up on the 8th floor, and it was a bay window, beautiful window, and it was a 8-bed ward. It was a big room.
Yeah, I remember the words.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the bay window on my side, but they would bring difficult patients to me.
Oh,
Uh-huh. Because I found out that you guys are restricted and a lot of stuff
yes.
you can say.
Yes.
You can't be mean. You can't
No,
say, don't treat me like this.
no.
Don't do this to me. I could.
Right. Exactly.
So they used me. Or they would wheel me into somebody else's room to have a talk with them. And I'm like, how dare you treat them like
Right.
this?
You had a
They're
whole different
working
perspective.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would tell them what I'm going through. And you really don't have a right to treat these people that are taking care of you
Right.
like this.
Exactly.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was one way that I helped the nurses overcoming
That's
difficult people.
huge though. You don't have a lot of patients that want to advocate for the nurses. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a patient, she was very young. She was in her early 30s. She had congestive heart failure. She had been a diabetic since she was a little girl. And I was training this really pretty, skinny, modelly looking redheaded girl. And I was thin back then, but this girl was a looker. And so when we went in the room, the patient who was very bloated from her heart failure, and she was not long for the world, and she started asking us questions. Were we married? Did we have children? Did we this? Did we that? Usually I wouldn't talk personally, but I knew this girl was just grasping for something. And some people sometimes live vicariously through other people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I volunteered that, yes, I was married and I had X amount of kids and so on and so forth. And I thought all was good. And we had to change her catheter, which we did. And the nurse in training left with me. We went back to the nurse's desk. And the next thing I know, I've got the administrator and the director of nurses calling me to their office. And I'm like, what? And the family complaining that I can no longer see this patient
Oh,
any longer, that I had neglected her. And I was devastated
I
because I would
bet.
never do that. Never. What it turned out was that she never had any of that. She felt very robbed of not having a family, not having children,
Oh,
not being able to go to college. So all these questions that seemed very innocent that she was asking me,
yeah.
it ended up that it was just reminding her of things. And then the nurse I was training was such a beautiful young redheaded girl
Mhm.
that she looked at her as an object of, I could never be that way, which this young woman was actually a very pretty lady with beautiful black hair.
Wow.
But she didn't feel like she could achieve what we had achieved. So she was very angry. And it probably took, because I stood up for myself and this young nurse with the administrator to say, hey, I'll be happy to go in to say I'm sorry for something, but we answered questions
Right.
that we ordinarily wouldn't answer.
Right.
And long story short, just before she died, she actually asked for both of us to come in. She apologized to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she apologized. And
Wow.
then we hugged her. And from that point on, the new nurse was done with her training, but we actually were the ones to oversee her care from there. But that's when we realized, there are people that are angry and we need to find out why,
Yeah.
because you don't
Yeah.
necessarily know why.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you had the opportunity to get to the bottom of things and the
Yes.
time and
Yes.
the ability.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say on my side, I did have, it was a teaching hospital.
Oh,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
I had 7 plus interns come through my room
That's a lot.
every day and pull the curtain back, and there I am.
Mhm.
It's like, hi guys. It was kind of crazy, but they weren't all real nice. Some were
Mhm.
like real business and wanting to show what their abilities, I guess, and I always tried to make it fun
Yeah,
because I've been there a while and I've been through groups of you already.
right. You seen it, did it, done it already.
Yeah. And you're no better than the last group, or maybe you are, but you don't have to act that way.
Right, right.
There were
Mhm.
some egotistical ones. And I have to say, the guy that did the body cast, what would he be called?
Could have been a resident or even an intern that's
No,
basically there.
no, he actually was permanent there,
Was
but
he a
he
tech?
he would take the body cast off and put it back on.
Usually that's pretty
It was the
specific
same,
skill.
yeah, and it was the same guy.
Hmm.
And the first time I had the body cast put on, that I was on this bench, my shoulders and
Mhm.
my head,
Mhm.
my butt,
Mhm.
and my heels. Okay, and he would wrap me, and I'm always, even young, I was trying to make people smile, make jokes of some kind, and he just was all business. No, I'm just doing this job. I'm just doing
Oh.
yeah. And then I'd be in a body cast for um couple months, 3 months maybe, and then they'd take me out and put me in traction, back into traction to
Okay.
grow bone because I
Right.
didn't have anything in there at the time. They
Wow.
took everything out the hip
Wow.
area. So this guy was a challenge for me.
I bet.
The first time he came back in to take the body cast off, again, they lay me out and he takes the saw and goes all the way up and down the sides and they lift the body cast off. Now they've got all the turns in there. Now you got to realize I'm like just 20 maybe
Wow.
and embarrassed and I'm naked
Right.
laying on
Right.
his
You're
cart.
splayed out for the whole world to
I'm laid
see.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
it was so embarrassing. And I know some of the interns knew that, but I also know the ones that didn't. And this guy was just so matter of fact, just like, so I went back to traction. He also had to drill the hole through my femur to put the traction bar on
Oh,
it. So he did
ouch.
that part too.
He had to have been an
Actually,
orthopod.
maybe.
Yeah, or a
Okay.
residential, doing a residence for his orthopedics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't feel that. I watched him do it. It's weird, but
Mm.
yeah, and then attached me to traction. So the next time I had to go down there to get the body cast put back on because they were alternating me, I talked to the nurses, and a couple of the male nurses were like, whatever, but I said, come on, modesty. I'm young. Give me
Which,
something. And now there's new interns coming through. So they created this little tie diaper
oh,
thing.
cool.
Yeah, they were really cool that we could cut off and pull out afterwards.
See, they should have had a sheet ready so as that was cut and lifted, somebody could have been pushing a sheet through to cover you up.
You're talking back in the late
Yeah, I
70s,
know.
early 80s,
I
and
know.
I didn't have a lot of
Yeah.
say.
Mm. Mhm.
So they kind of covered me a little bit, and we did pull it out after he did this.
Cool.
But then it came time to take it off again. Now it's Halloween. And I talked to the nurses. Can you cover me up? Can we stick them through the way you took them out? Can you cover me? And they came up with a way and they pulled the little strings and did this. And my sister Sally at the time went to the store and got me trick or treat candy because it was Halloween and people came through my room all the time. Even my little cabinet next to my bed had liquor in it.
Oh,
I actually had 4 beers a day on
really?
my
Yeah, if
med
the doctor
list.
writes a script, you can.
I
Mhm.
did, and
Wow.
especially for football. I mean,
Oh, there you go. Hey.
but I this time to take the cast off, they take me down there again. Now this time I'm more modest and I'm covered up, new interns again. Here we go. And he saws it off, he lifts it up, and all the candy fell out. I
Oh,
stuffed it full of candy. I just took bags and bags of candy and stuffed my body cast full
they
of
got a
candy.
trick and a treat.
They did. That was the first time I ever saw this guy smile and laugh.
That's hilarious.
And he's like, "Oh my god,
That's funny. That's
I can't
funny.
believe you did that."
I
That
bet they.
was overcoming.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
And just overcoming people. Most of the time, we don't know what other people are going through. So
right.
if we share in their grouchiness or their rudeness, we're only adding to it. We're not making it better.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Don't feed it. Don't feed that
Right. There you go.
negative.
Don't
Let's
feed it.
change that
Yes.
negative. Turn that Nikki. How does that
Yeah.
go?
Turn that smile upside
down.
down.
That's what
Or
we
turn
try
that
to do.
upside down, smile around.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's turn the
There you
frown
go.
upside
Turn
down.
the frown upside down. That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
That is true.
That's it. That was it. Another
Yeah.
that I remember, they took me down to, there was an 8-bed ward at the other end, and it was the male end of the room. And I think I mentioned before there was a hemophiliac down there that was just having some really difficult times. And this is, like I
Yeah,
said,
kinda
late
do, yeah.
70s, early 80s. And, everybody was worried about AIDS and stuff at that
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
And they took me down there, and I talked to quite a few of the guys that were in the room, and I took a marker and I signed him.
Oh, you signed his body?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. I said, because he started explaining to us what he was going through,
Mhm.
and he had been really rude to the doctors and the nurses,
Oh, wow.
and he didn't understand everything he was going through at the time
Right.
either.
Right.
It was new to him. And with all the scares of AIDS and all the scares of everything
Mhm.
going around, and he had to have transfusions
Yeah.
continually. And so I said, "Okay, so you're a walking body cast. I've got one." And I lifted his shirt up and I signed, "I love you," across his belly. Everybody
Aw.
came in. That poor kid. He was marked. Everybody signed
Oh,
him
that's
with
hilarious.
markers.
Aw.
But you know what? He wore it with pride. He
Aw.
kept those on, and he was like, "Yeah, people care. They really
Aw.
do care."
And that's what it
So,
boils down to. People
yeah,
just want to know they matter.
yeah, yeah,
Most people, I mean, everybody wants to know they matter, but there's some people you can't change, but most people you always can.
yeah,
Even just a smile.
yeah,
That's all it takes
yes,
sometimes. Mhm.
yes. Always, always.
Mhm.
I got stuck in the elevator because I couldn't turn my cart around,
Oh.
and I wheeled it into the
You
elevator,
and
and
that cart.
the buttons were at the back,
Ooh.
and I couldn't turn it around to get out, push a button. And it was a
Oh.
Sunday morning, really, really, really early. And I have to let you know that the elevators don't just stop, they do keep going up and down.
Oh
Every time
no.
I went past the 8th floor, I was like, "Help!"
Oh no. You were taking the scenic tour that day.
And this guy gets on. Finally, somebody gets on, and I said, "Can you push the button for me, please, for the 8th floor? I can't get up." And he's looking at me, and he's backing up, and I said, "Okay, please." He got off the elevator and
Did
let
he
me
help you?
out there.
Oh no.
I think he thought I came from a different ward or something.
Oh
I'm
no.
strapped down.
Oh no.
So I rode a little while longer until they found me. And
Oh my goodness. Poor thing.
yeah,
Stuck
but
at the lake, stuck in the elevator.
yeah, but overcoming him, I hope somebody did.
Well, I do too for leaving you and not at least pushing the button to the right floor.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just people, walk in somebody else's shoes for a minute.
Well, it's true. Some people, when they don't know how to deal with it, will kind of turn a blind eye to it because they don't know what to do with it
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than saying, hey, how can I help you?
yeah, yeah. I think society since then has come a lot further,
Yeah,
and I think we're more willing to help and listen to each other.
I think so.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do too.
yeah.
So anyway, walk in our shoes.
That's right. I know. Wow.
And we have a lot more to share in the future, a lot more hospital stories. I mean, I definitely have a lot more. Uh, a lot. That was a lot of time with
I'll
a
have to
lot
tell
of
you the
people.
ghost stories of the hospital
Oh
sometimes. Yeah.
no. Maybe next.
But funny things
Maybe
next time.
next.
Another show.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. So this is Sandy with My Shoes Let's Walk. Guest Debbie. And we are going to hopefully not step on anybody's toes, but
No.
keep walking
Yes.
and email us. Oh, that's right. I had a email. I'm sorry. That back then when my feet were pigeon-toed,
Mhm.
it wasn't a wooden bar, it was a steel bar.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I don't remember. I was very little. But my sister Sylvia agreed because she said, oh, it was so easy to change your diaper. I just grabbed that steel bar, pick you up, and put the diaper on you.
Poor thing. How do you hang your sister upside down?
Exactly. She probably did. That's
She
what's wrong with me.
probably did.
Yes, she probably
Sylvia.
did. Yeah.
Exactly.
If we had had cell phones back then with the capability, or
Oh
who knows
my
what.
goodness. The memories to show.
Yes, yes. So keep on walking. Let's walk in each other's shoes. Let's help each other. Let's be there for each other. Our shoes. Let's walk. And this is Sandy. Love you guys. And we'll see you next week.